this is Colin's PPF. Let's draw the Tom's PPF. How do we draw the Tom's PPF? I'm asking you. Yeah. What is Tom's PPF? Looks like this. What is number on here?
All 4.
4. What is number on here?
8.
All right. So when we look for the price of exchange, step 1, we have to define the price of exchange. We define the price of exchange is equal to, anybody remember this? Is the number of vertical excess good divided by number of horizontal excess good. Okay? That's step 1. Step 2. Okay. Step 2, we're going to find the slope. Slopes of the 2 PPF. What's the slope of this one? What's the slope of this one?
2. All or half.
Which one it is? That's where your problem is. Okay. Slope is equal to this distance divided by this distance. So slope here is half. Okay? And how about the slope of here? 1. That's equal to 1. Okay. And the step after you find the slope, which is half, is 1, you write here. And step 3, now you can construct the range. It is a range between these 2 slopes. So this must be the lower bound, this must be the upper bound, right? So P has to be greater or equal than 12, and that's equal to 1. I'm going to ask you this here. Now let's say I want to use 2 fish to trade for 3 coconuts. 2 fish trade for 3 coconuts. Does that fall into that range? 2 fish for 3 coconuts. How do we compute the price of exchange when 2 fish trade for 3 coconuts?
2 over 3.
Okay. Is 2 over 3 in that range?
Yeah.
Yes. 2 over 3 is greater than half, right? And it's less than 1. So since it's in that range, a trade will happen. Like this. How about 3 fish trade for 2 coconuts?
No.
That will be greater than 1, right? Okay, good. Got it?
Thank you.
Did everyone get this one? So next thing. Anything you want to tell?
This graph, I don't know, it's with the, when we're trying to figure out all the, daily loss and stuff,
Daily loss.
all of that.
Okay, so that's what, because that's gonna take a lot of time. I want to see whether
Yeah.
other people have some other kind of simpler questions. In order to do well in this exam, at least you have to at least study for 6 straight hours before, at least. Okay, other simpler question before I go over because, okay, go ahead.
I know how to find the consumer surplus and the producer surplus, but I think what might be, it's just the numbers as far as like right here. When you have, I guess I'm confused as
This is from the book. Is it from the book or from my
from
lecture?
yours.
From mine.
Those, like, what to label down here is what's kind of confusing as far as like what numbers, as far as like the new price and the demand number, as far as like finding the new equilibrium and all the other stuff.
Okay, all right, so I'll try my best to answer your question, even though it's still not too clear what you want me to do, okay? And it's probably related to what you want me to go over. Basically, what you asked the question is price ceiling or price floor. Okay, so that's just we look at price ceiling. Okay, by the way, and when you draw this graph, which you will, on the exam, label it correctly. Okay, and the one thing I want to remind you here, if you switch this, put the D is here, put S here, put Q here, put B here, that's a really huge mistake. You're gonna lose a lot of points. So make sure you label this right. D, where is D, where is S, where is Q, where is P? Okay, that's one thing. And you're gonna lose points if you get it wrong. Okay, so we know this is the equilibrium point. There's no question about that, right? There's no question about it. But what if a price ceiling is implemented? Price ceiling is implemented when the government thinks the equilibrium price P star is too high, so it is below. Okay, so to answer your question, when we have this case, what is the market equilibrium price? Well, market equilibrium price is still P star, and equilibrium quantity is still Q star. However, the price that's set in the market is not that, it's this. But equilibrium point is still here. Because you demand and supply, none of them has shifted yet. Equilibrium point only going to change if demand or supply has shifted. Okay, so what's the equilibrium point? Equilibrium point is one where the market is clear. So this is still the point the market is clear. So that does not change, okay? So which means, if there's no price ceiling, this is still the total social welfare. Okay, so now price ceiling is implemented. So this now is market price. When this is market price, we know the market is not cleared. Why? Because at this price, this represents quantity supplied, right? Because that's the point where this price touches supply curve, right? It should touch supply curve. And this point is the point where the price touches demand. So this represents quantity demanded, right? Okay. So now you have this much quantity supplied, and you have this much quantity demanded. There are some people who really would like to buy and could not find goods. And we call this a shortage. Okay, we call this a shortage. Okay, so this is a direct consequence of price ceiling. But there's another consequence for the price setting. So first one is shortage. Cost that. The second one is what? Is debt weight loss. So not only is going to cause this shortage, but this cost shortage eventually is going to cause loss of social welfare. Okay. How do we figure out the loss of social welfare? Okay. If you think about this quantity here, this quantity is being supplied, but this much quantity is being demanded. So what is the actual quantity that is traded in the market? Let's say I give a number, 50 units have been provided. 120 units is really what's demanded. So what is actual quantity that's traded? 50 units are supplied, but actually 120 people want this. So what is actual quantity that's traded? Is 50 or 120? Okay, so producers produce 50 units, right? And once those 50 units been put on the market, and it's going to be bought by the consumers. And some consumer got it, but some consumer will not be able to get it, right? So what is actual quantity traded? It's just 50, right? Okay, so whatever the smaller number is, that is the quantity actually traded in the market. Okay, so knowing this is actual quantity traded, and this the number, actually we'll look at it. So we go straight up. We draw a straight line. Just like for the tax policy, we do the same thing. We figure out the actual quantity, then we draw the straight line up. Okay, so far it's going, okay. So once we draw the straight line up, and what we're going to do is this, okay. Since this many quantities really supplied is traded, actually these consumers here, located here, are the consumer actually were able to get it. The consumer from here to here, they are not able to get the goods. So only those people get the goods. Okay? So if those people get the goods, the price they're paying is right here, then this big area here, this is the odd shape here. This is the consumer's surplus. Because, again, what is consumer surplus area? It is between the demand and the market price for the quantity traded. So if you know these three elements, you can find the area. First is demand. The second one is market price. And then the quantity demanded, quantity traded in the market. With these three elements, you're able to capture the area that represent consumer surplus.
So how do you find?
So where's the dead weight loss then?
I'm going to go there in a minute. So we have to find consumer surplus and producer surplus before we do that.
That's all that
You're going to ask that too? Okay. So this is the consumer surplus. Then what about producer surplus? Producer surplus, again, three elements. Supply curve, market price, and the quantity traded. So which area represents producer surplus? Market price, supply, and quantity traded. Where? It's right. Can you see it? What is the area between the market price and the supply? Where's the market
Square,
price?
right? The square?
Market price is right here, right?
Triangle.
Where's the supply?
You erased the triangle.
This is supply, right? This is price. This is supply. The area between the market price and the supply for this much quantity traded. So which area? Market price, supply, the area in between. This area is the area between the market price and demand for the quantity that's traded. You see, the reason this is important is once you determine the quantity traded, the consumer surplus, producer surplus must be the area on the left-hand side. Anything on the right-hand side of this quantity traded is not going to be relevant. Okay. Now, is it clear where is the deadweight loss? Where's the deadweight loss?
Is it a triangle that's
It's
at the-
this little triangle here, right? Because this one has been lost. Before the price is implemented, this whole thing is social welfare, right? But right now it's only this. So this is the deadweight loss.
So, to find the consumer surplus, what is that? Because the producer, you said it's between market price and supply, so what is the?
So for the consumer surplus, it's market price and demand.
Okay.
First, you determine the quantity traded, and then actually it's the area on the left. Yeah. Then you find the demand, market price, and supply, market price, and the area in between. Did I answer your question?
Mhm.
Okay. Any question? No? Okay. So should we go to your question? Or do you feel you know, you understand now?
Can you do one more? Just
One more, which more? You want me to do the price floor or the tax? Which one? Maybe tax.
Do tax.
The tax
Do
is
the-
more relevant, right? Okay, so originally, this is our equilibrium price, this is our equilibrium quantity, and we know this is our total social welfare, right? Big triangle. Everybody understand that. But now the tax is on consumer. Let's say the tax is $1.50. So first, you know one of these is gonna shift which one? Demand or supply? When tax is on consumer, which curve is gonna be affected?
Demand.
Demand. And demand is gonna shift to the left or shift to the right?
To the left.
To the left. Anytime, the demand is gonna decrease, it's gonna shift. Okay, good. Okay, last class, I talked about you have to mark this tax amount, otherwise you're gonna lose credit, right? So where should I mark this $1.50?
Down.
It's vertical shift, right? It is vertical. Okay, in this case, do we have a new equilibrium point? Do we have a new equilibrium point?
Yeah.
Yes, because demand has shifted, right? And this is new equilibrium point. And for this new equilibrium point, and there is a new equilibrium quantity, and there is a new equilibrium price, right? Okay. Now we're going to talk about consumer surplus, producer surplus, and after this tax is imposed. What is the quantity, actual quantity traded when tax is imposed on the consumer? You understand my question? What is actual quantity that is traded once this tax is imposed? If I ask you what is the new equilibrium quantity, you know where is it? Right? But now I change it. I change the question. I ask what is actual quantity traded once the tax is imposed? Am I asking the same thing? Am I asking the same thing? New equilibrium quantity is the actual quantity that is traded, right? So I'm asking for the same thing. I just changed this wording a little bit. Okay. So this is actual quantity traded, Q star prime. So you know this right away. The consumer surplus, producer surplus, anything related to the social welfare is going to be on the left side of this quantity. So what you're going to do is, right away, you stand this line here. Okay, so that's the first thing you do. You stand that line straight up. Actually, by now, you should know directly which area is deadweight loss. After you figure out this line, which area is deadweight loss? The graph has already given you the clue. Which area?
Is it to the right of that line? That, yeah, that right.
Yeah. Because I told you anything only on the left side is relevant to the consumer surplus or producer surplus. So, and this area will not be included in the social welfare, but this area was included in the social welfare before, right? So right away, you know this is deadweight loss. Without doing anything, just draw this straight line. You know this is deadweight loss because that is area on the right side of this quantity traded.
So now we found the deadweight loss. Would that triangle below it equal the same thing as the deadweight loss?
Actually, yes, there is a triangle here, but this triangle here relates to nothing.
Is it like the same area?
It is the same. It should be the same.
Okay.
It should be the same, yeah, because those lines are parallel. That's right. But don't confuse yourself. There's no, this triangle is
Gotcha.
not, yeah, related or relevant at all. Okay, so far so good, everyone? Okay, so right away we identify this is deadweight loss. Okay, then now we need to identify where is the consumer surplus, where is the producer surplus, which area represents social welfare, and also the government's revenue. Okay. Now I want you to tell me, for this new equilibrium point, based on this new equilibrium and this situation, which area represent producer surplus? Producer surplus. Remember, producer surplus is the area between what?
Price and supply.
Price and supply. Where's the price?
P1. P star 1.
It's right here, right? Where's the supply? This is supply. So which area represent the producer surplus?
The triangle.
This. Did everybody see that? It's this. This is supply, this is the price. So it's the area between the price and supply. Yes? Okay. Okay, we'll figure this out. This is the producer surplus. Okay, so now we need to figure out the consumer surplus. Where is the consumer surplus? It's the area between the price and what? Price and demand. Okay, where's the price? Where's the demand? Where's the demand? Is this or this? Which one? We should use new demand or old demand? New demand, because we're talking about the new situation, right? So you have to, utilize the new demand. So this is demand line, and this is the market price. So which area represents consumer surplus? It's this triangle here. Demand and the price, right? Okay. So if you just want to know consumer surplus and producer surplus, then these two areas represent all, right? But in this case, there's something else. Because the government is going to collect some money from the consumer. So government's revenue is there. So we want to know which area represents the government's revenue. So now you need to actually move one of this area somewhere else to empty out the area that represents the government's revenue, right? So which area are you going to move around? Consumer surplus. Where are we going to move to? Up. Okay. So think about you have this block, like a, the toys game, children's game, a wooden block. You're just going to move this up. Okay, move this block, this triangle block up. Okay, and where are you going to move to? You're going to move to here. You're just going to move this block, block up by this much.
And so why are you moving it up?
Well, because now we empty out this area. And that area will represent, what? Government's revenue. So we want to see graphically which area represents the government's revenue. That's why we move that up. We still have some questions.
No, how are we supposed to show this? Like, are we supposed to erase it and then when we move it, or?
So I do recommend you use pencil when you draw the graph because it can be so messy. So eventually what I want is this graph here, what's present here. So in a sense, you told me this is consumer surplus, this is the producer surplus, this is deadweight loss, and this area in the middle is government's revenue. So this is the end graph I want. Okay. But to show you how do we end up with that, that's why I moved that triangle up. But you don't have to show me the process. Yeah.
How far do you know how to move the triangle up?
How far? That's a good question. Okay. So before, look at this angle, this triangle. The angle is here, right? One of the angles is here, right? And you're going to move this angle to here. And you're going to move this angle to here. So this distance is the tax amount. So you basically move up by $1.50. Yeah.
So the government revenue is the box, right?
Yeah, in the middle of this box is government's revenue because it is equal to the $1.50 multiplied the actual quantity that is traded. That's government's revenue. And you will have numbers So you have to calculate mathematically what is the value of the government's revenue, what is the value for the dead weight loss. And also show this graph. So that's what it should look like on your exam. And instead of, but the only difference is this, you're gonna have the actual numbers here. You're gonna have extra numbers here. Okay. But actual graph is like that. And this is on the consumer. For the producer, it's going to look a little bit different. Okay. I hope you will redo those questions within the class at home a couple times. And you have to answer this question to you. Does it really make a difference if tax is on the consumer or the producer? I will ask this question on the exam. And this for you to think about. Does it make a difference? If you pay $1.50 or the producer pay $1.50, does it make a difference to the social welfare? And why? Okay? Okay, but for this and clear? Good. Okay. Other question? I want to mention one more time. There's a 20% is on using the supply and demand to show the Obama stimulus package. It's not a really hard question. Okay, it's not hard. But I would ask you to Google some packages and just practice yourself. Okay. For example, one loud policy is give GM, General Motors, some incentive. You know, look at this. You think about, okay, does this cost shift the supply or cost shift the demand? Okay? So really Google learning about this stuff.
I have a question. So on that midterm, are we gonna have to find the equilibrium price that we did last class where we
Yeah.
was given?
You will have to find equilibrium price. That's right. And
Okay.
quantity. Yeah. Other question? And on Friday, I'm gonna come early, 1:15. Okay, so you can start early, and if you need more time afterward, you can utilize more time too. But since you cannot stay after 2:20, that's why I started at 1:15. Okay, to give, especially you, extra time. Yeah. And you can utilize some time after.
So is there like vocabulary? How's the exam?
Vocabulary.
Like, yeah. how's the-
There's no vocabulary that you have not seen before.
Okay.
Yeah. It's, you know, once you see the exam, it's everything I said in class. It's no surprise. No surprise. But you do have to, you know, understanding the way I do it, understanding everything. Some of you may understand it perfectly. You know, I don't have to do this today if you don't understand. But understanding everything is different from you being able to do it yourself. Because you will see, when you start doing yourself, you may make some mistakes. So that's why I want you to practice, okay? And there's some question actually require not really, it requires some thinking. For example, the supply and demand shift. You know, you really have to take a look at situation, decide, okay, what is this external factor is? Okay, you have to determine whether that external factor gonna affect demand and supply. Then you draw the graph and determine where's new equilibrium price. So requires some thinking. You basically, you know, I'm asking you to apply the concept in the real life. Yeah, but there's something like this is I've been already, you know, taught you, how to do it. It's straightforward, just a repetition. But trust me, if you don't practice, if you don't study, you cannot do well. But if you study, you're gonna do extremely well. And that's the nature of the exam. It really only shows the amount of effort you've put into it. It's not hard, but it requires some time.
So when you're subtracting the tax from the price, you're finding the supply? When we're,
When it's on demand, it's gonna be different if it's on supply, right?
so when you're subtracting the tax from price, what are you finding? What is that for?
Okay, so let's say if it's on the consumer,
Mhm.
like this one, look at the demand there. The demand is shifted down from the original one, right? Look at the graph there, right? So that means for the new demand, corresponding price is going to be $1.50 lower than the original one, right? Okay. And if we draw the other graph that is on the supply, and yes, you see the supply curve actually is higher than the original one. So that indicates that the new corresponding price for the supply is going to be $1.50 higher than. So the graph actually tells you everything here. That's how you when to subtract, when to increase, yeah. Then you utilize that, then shift those numbers, and figure out the quantity and then put it in price. You guys did wonderful on quiz 1, so I'm expecting the good performance on the midterm one too. Any other question? I'll be in my office if you still want to, ask some questions. So, you still want to talk to me? So you send me email, you want to talk to me?
Oh, no, I figured it out.
You figured it out?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll be in my office. You can come stop by for any other questions, or you can stay here.